Hey guys, Thomas the Solo Jr. here, aka Mustached. I'm here to do some review catch up after doing Batman vs Superman, after doing Cloverfield. I decided to go back and look at some other movies and just do some more reviews. So it's been a while, so let's get right into The Witch. Now, this is a movie that takes place around the 1630s in New England, and this family that gets casted out decides to leave and go to this like abandoned little house out in the middle of the forest, and they are just trying to make it survive out there, hunting and doing what they can. So the father and the son go out, and the mother's like, what? And the oldest daughter is, you know, doing her best with what's going on as well. And when the two come back unsuccessful of their hunt, with I think their provisions are low at that time. Uh, the son decides to go out again with the daughter. They like plan this little thing where they go out and they're gonna get food or something, and they get caught on by the witch. The oldest daughter gets captured. Her name is Thomason. She's on the horse, and then she gets knocked out. And the son continues to press forward, and he gets like he sees this witch, and then he's like entranced, and then like she like kisses him, and then the daughter wakes up, hears the family calling or the father calling, and she returns. So she goes back, and there's this whole thing about like honesty, and the fathers and the wife are talking about to each other about, oh, you weren't being honest with me, and stuff of that nature. And the daughter is saying that these the twins, the youngest children in the group, are accusing her of being a witch, and because things are starting to play off of each other, and the mother's just she's starting to get sick and tired of all this stuff, and the father's like, hold on, I'm gonna help you with whatever you got going on. I'm gonna take you back, but they still have to find the son, of course. So there's this sort of stuck there, and eventually the son returns back, and he's like all naked and stuff, and then they like bring him into the house, and they put him in the bed, and this is where like most of the secrets come out of, like, oh, you went out to the woods, and the mother, like everyone's like, oh, revealing their own stuff. um, and this scene is pretty interesting, where the kid is actually possessed, and the two kids are actually like playing along, like they're pretending, and they play dead, and the son actually dies. So it's a really bizarre scene, to say the very least. So he actually dies, and then who is the witch, and then they think it's the daughter or something. I think it was the father, and then, or I mean the mother, and then she's starting to like lose it, and she starts to see things. At one point, she like sees her son again, and he's like, "Oh, I have a gift for you," and then it's like this. She's like right, like he has a baby, and then she's like breastfeeding, and then like she's just hallucinating that it's an actual bird just pecking on her. Um, and the father's like, "Oh, you really are a witch, aren't you?" To Thomason, and she's like, "No, no, no," and then they lock they finally get the kids to wake up, and they're like, "Oh, but you two are the witch," and then the father locks them in the barn. as well as the daughter, and he's like trying to figure out what to do. And after like I think a night, when he goes back, the barn's all knocked out or something, and the goat's out, and it rams him, and then he falls into the thing, and like the stockpile of like wood, and then he gets killed. The young daughter sees that, and then the mother comes out, um, and I believe the kids got killed as well. The two kids got killed. Um, I can't remember. Like they were in the barn, and I think something happened to them in that barn. Um, and then the mother and the daughter are fighting, or like the daughter's trying to protect herself. The mother's on top of her, uh, and then she like stabs her mother with this knife that she had, um, and she finally gets up, and after like seeing that everyone's gone, she sort of just wanders into the woods, and she like joins these other witches. It's actually like a cult or something. So this movie starts off pretty slow, and there are like scenes here and there that like sort of like hint that like something's going on, and it sort of like perpetuates from there, from scene to scene, and they're pretty calm moments, but it's interesting because there's like a certain hint of like, oh, but yeah, there is that witch out there, so uh, I like that the movie kept to being a period piece. I think that really helped the film in a lot of ways, and though I didn't find myself too attached to too much of the characters, I was just sort of like, okay, this is an interesting movie, and by the end of it, I was like, oh, that was okay. I enjoyed it. So I would give this movie a 6 out of 10. I think this movie, its pacing is both its strength and weakness. Surprisingly, I think it's a strange thing to say, but it's hard to capture like an isolated thing, and that's I think where this movie both shines in certain places, and it's where the movie also sort of slows down a lot. Again, it depends on what scene you're looking at, and at the very beginning, it does seem like it's pretty slow, and you see this family just sort of adjusting, and then you start to see these weird things, and then you're put at the edge of your seat, and again, it's that pacing that's doing that. It's like, oh, I've been kind of waiting, and now something's happening. So there is that sort of weight uh, that happens, and again, depending on who's seeing it, I think it will affect people in different ways. I found it to be a little too slow at times, and when it picked up, it did pick up pretty well, so there's also that. Um, this movie was acted pretty well. Everyone seemed pretty believable. The setting was a bit dull, but I think that sort of plays into the sort of simplicity turning into something that's not so simplistic anymore. So again, it's sort of like a beginning is sort of like a but the end makes it seem a bit more interesting. It's like a transitional movie in a way, where the beginning seems a bit slow and then it picks up. So I think that about covers everything. And with that, this has been Thomas Cicillo Jr., aka Mustache Tom, and I'll see you guys next time.